Falcon fans, Falcon Nation, Dirty Fanatics United is tuning in with you on a Saturday night afternoon draft recap here with DFU. I'm your host, C Money. If you have not checked out the podcast before, leave a comment, hit the like button, and be sure to subscribe if you're new here to the channel, guys. You do not want to miss out on this Atlanta Falcon content that we have coming to you guys very, very soon once this training camp kicks off. Once things really get popping with the Atlanta Falcons, DFU will be there to cover it all. I am your host, C Money. To the right of me on my screen, it should be the right on your guys' screens, Cody at the very top right, Cody Keeler, your co-host. At below me, you have Philip, your other co-host, and my guy Robert Mega Biff is here to talk Falcon football. 3 co-hosts here tonight. Rick should be here shortly. Falcon fans, tap in. We have a lot to talk about tonight with the draft recap. Cody, before we dive into it, man, how are we feeling? And then once everybody gives their intro to the show, I think it's fair enough we should go around the table and talk about draft night experience at the Benz, because I think that topic there is worthy of a good 30 minutes of the podcast. Yes, but let's talk about it. Cody, what's going on, man? Glad to have you.
Oh, man, what a last couple of days, man. We had the draft Thursday night. Friday night was my 5th wedding anniversary with my wife. We had to go do some funeral stuff today, which was a little bit of a downer, but you know what? Man, the way the draft went, man.
Pretty fun.
Man, dude, this is like the first time since 2016 it feels good. And not that we're not excited for Falcon football, but it's weird to walk away from the draft and be like, man, not only am I excited, we're going to be dangerous and we're much improved. So
absolutely, Cody. You possibly turn your defense into a top 15 defense easily in just 2 days of the NFL draft. Not to mention what you added today in the last round, a 6'7" offensive tackle. Philip, we're going to dive into it here later, baby. Philip, what's going on, man? Glad to have you here tonight on the podcast. It is episode 142 draft recap with DFU. Falcon fans, get in the comment section. Go crazy, go stupid. Let's get the comment section popping off. Tag a Falcon friend to be entered for the chance to win a Wart Dunn jersey, courtesy of my guy, Robert. Philip, what's going on, man? Glad to have you here tonight.
Feeling good, man. Draft was fun. That was mine and yours first ever draft party that we ever been to. It was amazing. I love the atmosphere and just the whole vibe around it, man. And then for our first pick, how about it, bro? This was a guy that we thought was going at what, number 9, 8 or 9 to the Carolina Panthers, and I may say I kind of feel me sold.
I don't want to interrupt you, Phil. I'm sorry I do that. For the people that view the channel, I have very bad ADHD, so when something pops up here, it has to come out. Chat, we have a live reaction. We did not get a video recorded reaction. We have Philip's little short 2-3 minute reaction. But I think, guys, if you guys are down for it before this podcast over with, we give the guys a screen share of my live from my Facebook stream of our reaction during the Jalen Walker selection. I think we should do that before the podcast is over with. Philip, please continue on, brother.
Yeah, like I said, we thought this guy. We thought Jalen was going 8 or 9 to the Panthers, and may I say, just this whole draft in general just shocked me in general. So many players slid. This draft fell into our hands perfectly. There couldn't have been a more perfect draft. And like as Admiral said, Terry took that up and cooked with it and got us some very great picks, not just Jalen Walker, but James Pierce. But I'm sure we'll talk about our experience on how like our reactions to that and how it went down after we left.
I mean, it is so crazy that Terry and them went so aggressive this season. We're going to talk about the trade scenario of what happened. Actually, no longer a scenario. The Atlanta Falcons actually traded back into the first round. We're going to talk about it here on the podcast. Robert, what's going on, man? Glad to have you here tonight. Also, shout out to Robert, man. My guy is a warrior coming straight out of the eye surgery, 100% ready to talk Falcon football here on the podcast. With Robert, with the James Pierce Jr. prediction, the Jalen Walker prediction. Guys, you see why Robert's on the podcast? He kind of knows what he's talking about.
He is what's going on, wise.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think that Jalen was going to be available at 15. I didn't talk much about it leading up. And since that was the case, I really kind of had my heart set on Mike Green, but The Panthers made their selection. The Saints made their selection. I'm like, he's still on the board. He's going to be a Falcon. And then to trade back up and, get James Pierce. Oh, my gosh. Terry's seat has gotten a lot cooler.
A lot cooler, Robert. I'm so glad you brought that up. Terry's seat. We can all agree real quick, Robert. I don't mean to interrupt you, but we can all agree real quick. Terry's seat was very hot before this podcast, before this draft. We talked about it, Cody. We even had that as a questionnaire for Falcon fans at the draft. How hot was Terry's seat if he did not draft 2 to 3 starters in this draft? And Robert, I think it's safe to say the first 3 of this draft is definite starters on this Falcons defense.
No doubt. And actually, our 7th round pick, the tackle out of Wisconsin. I mean, this kid, 6'7", 315. He is a beast. He may crack the starting lineup by opening day. I mean, God, Terry knocked it out of the park, and he only had 5 picks to work with, and this team got better in a big hurry.
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. I mean, tremendously after night 1. Yep. Before I laid my head on that pillow, I was thinking, dude, my Atlanta Falcons defense is going to be a top 15 this year. We're going to have 40 sacks as a team. We're no longer a 30-sack team. We're going to have 40 to 50 sacks as a team now. Now you have a team that can put you in those playoff scenarios because, guys, multiple games there at the end of the season that your defense kept you from making that playoff push. Still a big void. I would say, and not a big void. This is going to be a topic for tonight's show about what is still the missing piece for the defense. Because obviously, guys, I don't think I mean, and I could be wrong, but I don't think the defense is completely done. And I don't know what could happen and what could come of that, but I still think maybe something at the defensive tackle could happen here soon. I don't know what that could be, but I think other than defensive tackle, you have pretty much solidified your defensive front. And if you look at defensive tackle, you kind of have a defensive tackle with Morgan Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have
– forgot about him.
Rook O'Horood. So you have 2 guys there, a veteran and not a rook anymore, but coming off of a rook season, year 2 here for Rook, looking for a lot more snaps this year than last year. Different DC, Jeff Ulbrich. Jeff Ulbrich, man. Can we get a round for Jeff Ulbrich? I mean, because Jeff Ulbrich is the reason – everybody wants to know in the comment section and on posts that I've been seeing on Facebook, what was the difference this year? You didn't change GM. You didn't change head coach. No, the difference was you had a defensive coordinator that actually knew how to scout players and bring them in the building and be able to draft a draft like you had this season. 2025 draft, to me, guys, I'm snapping it now, the best draft you've had since 2016. Yep. Easy. Hands down, the best draft you've had.
To follow up on, as Robert said with the tackle, this is a major thing to me that stood out about him. Out of 393, pass block snaps, he only allowed 1 snap in 2024, or one sack out of 2024. 1 sack allowed.
So you're telling me Caleb McGarry has competition there at the right tackle spot?
He has competition,
no doubt.
And
Cody,
we've seen Caleb improve. Maybe this is going to make him better. Who knows?
Yep. Real quick, we got to get to the chat because I don't want chat running off because we're not answering questions. Real quick, we're going to get to the chat and then we're going to go into some topics for tonight. Shout out to Abnel in the chat where he says, Terry cooked. He absolutely did, brother. Give me your draft grades in the comment section with an A all the way to a D. What is your draft grade selection here for the Atlanta Falcons? Give me your grade in the comment section. Abnel says, Terry cooked. Gator Boy is in the chat. It says, DFU and Falcons family, let's effing go. The new era is here, and the Falcons will rise in 2025 and beyond. Shout out to you, brother. Glad to have Georgia Boy here in the chat with it. Manuel McFarland in the chat says, top of the evening, guys. Are y'all feeling me now? TF, GM of the year. Terry Fentano, GM of the year.
On this comment, everybody, you owe this man an apology. You owe Terry an apology. 100%. Talking about how you want him gone. You want him this. What? Main thing I said, give him time. Time was given, and look what he did.
Let him cook. Look
what he did with it.
I said, let him cook.
He's just not that free agent GM. He showed he can be more than that.
Georgia Boy said, we finally have a young offense and defense at the same time. Guys, this is the most realist comment I have seen all night. Excellent comment here from GA Boy. Shout out to GA Boy in the comment section. He says, "Welcome back, Robert. You can't clip a Falcons wing and not look for him to get back." Shout out to Manuel in the chat with it, man. Shout out to Manuel. GA Boy said, "Also, Billy Bellman would now be a nickelback." Philip, Robert, Cody, as soon as we made the selection, my bad. Georgia, Texas boy. I keep saying Gator boy. It's because I see the GAT and then it registers Gator. But as I was saying, Billy Bowman Phillip in the group chat, as soon as we selected him, I said we now have a nickelback. D Alford now
Billy
has
Bowman
competition.
Jr. is gonna be that guy. It's gonna be a good rotational piece or depth piece. Like it's
4 day one starters confidence. And a future blindside offensive tackle. Give me your draft grade in the comment section, Falcon fans. Get active with it. Don't just view, but give me a comment so I can interact with you guys. Give me your draft grade for these Atlanta Falcons. I think, we'll start it off with the first topic of the draft. Let's do that, guys. We got a lot to talk about here tonight. So why not make it an hour 30,
Hey, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I don't think the wife can't hear me. 2 hours. I mean,
2 hours. Hey, man, well, the 2 hour special, man.
Falcon fans, tap in, man. We talking some crazy Falcon content here tonight. Right. Falcon fans, tag a Falcon friend in the comment section if you're tuning in from Facebook, wherever it may be that you're watching. Tag a Falcon friend in the comment section, and if you do so, we will enter you for the chance to win a throwback. It's not much so of a throwback. When you say throwback, you think about the old logo, but it is I guess you can now classify it as an alternate jersey.
Alternate, yeah.
I mean, Ward Gunn alternate jersey here, 28.
That's the 2000s era. That's what we'll call it.
2000 Dunn jersey, man. Shout out to Robert for that giveaway. Y'all make sure to tag a Falcon friend if you're tuning in on Facebook at a Falcon friend in the comment section. Get them here in this live so we can enter you for the chance to win that. Real quick, headed back to the comment section. Travis Preston in chat with it says, Terry pushed all of his chips in the middle of the table and said, hey, I'm the big dog at the table. I'm going all in, and we make it happen in this draft. Shout out to Travis Preston in the chat with it. Mayo McFarland said, hands together for Jeff Ulbricht. Absolutely. Georgia, Texas boys said, DC with a vision. Absolutely. That's what I was so keyed on, was like, guys, we talked about it in the chat, and I said, listen, do not be surprised if your first round pick is Mykel Williams or Jalen Walker. And I said that because of the fact of Jeff Ulbricht, the scouts, Raheem Morris, they all were at G-Day for that last viewing of Mykel Williams and Jalen Walker. Let me ask you guys this real quick, kind of leading off the topic here. But if Mykel Williams was the selection, who was your favorite dog there? Would you have rather it been Mykel Williams or the way it played out, Jalen Walker?
Well, for me, kind of Robert's point, I was big on Mike Green, but the only reason why instead of being a Jalen Walker pick was because I seriously thought we were going to have to see him twice a year in Carolina. So it was like, why bother? Yeah. Because, I mean, that was going to be a huge hit for Carolina. And then when they screwed that up, I was like, we're getting a dog. And that's the dog I wanted. And, so, man, I would have stayed with Jalen Walker if both, since both of them, what could have been, if both of them would have been there. I think Jalen Walker is perfect. Like I say, I'm a huge Caden Ellis guy. And, man, not only did the Jalen Walker thing excite me because of what Jalen Walker could do for himself, but what he frees up for Caden Ellis, man. Because Absolutely. We know what Caden Ellis can do when he gets free and he doesn't have all the responsibilities and he get in there and get that bend going and get after the quarterback. Well, now you got Jalen Walker.
Even nicer now, what's even nicer now, though, than the fact that you bring this up, is that now you can have a Jalen Walker blitzing, and you can have a Caden Ellis to sit back in a quarterback spy. You don't have to have Caden blitzing every package, because everybody wants to fault Caden Ellis on his pass coverage. But what guys don't understand is how many snaps a game Caden Ellis is actually a pressure-rated defender on that play. So, yeah, Cody, absolutely. Not only was Jalen Walker a great pick, but the guys around him get 10 times better also off of this kind of draft pick.
And then, didn't we just trade up and get a freaking another stud?
James Pierce Jr., another stud right after the guy you just select, Jalen Walker. So, Cody, I love your answer because that's kind of where I was going to head with it as well. Michael Williams or Jalen Walker, I was happy with either. We talked about it. It could have been Mike Green at 15, which was crazy at the slide. We're going to talk about the slide here too, but I mean, we all thought Mike Green was going to be a day 1 pick or no later than a day 2, an early day 2. Everybody did. And if you're in the comment section saying otherwise, you're lying, because a lot of the fan base, I made a poll on Twitter. I said, who would you rather have at 15 if you're still there? I said, if Jalen Walker is there at 15 and Mike Green is at 15, who do you select? Out of the 12 to 15 people that voted, over 95% selected Mike Green. One person selected Jalen Walker. So Jalen Walker now here in Atlanta. Mike Green falls to the late third, fourth round pick to the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
He should do fine over in Baltimore. But the fact that he slid and the Falcons knew that was going to happen. You see, like, there's levels to this shit. And fans don't understand this, but like people was like, I even heard people at the bins when Jalen Walker was selected. Now, a good 85 to 90% of that fan base was absolutely totally happy. Everybody was spot on with the pick. But there was still that couple few were like, Mike Green, what wasn't a Mike Green? And then it's like, I'm watching it at the house and I'm watching it at the hotel, after the bins, and I'm like, damn, it's day 2. Mike Green's still on the board.
Yep.
Damn, do they need but like 3 more picks? And Mike Green, it's going to be 3rd round. Damn, dude, the 3rd round's about over with, and Mike Green's still on the board. Like, there's levels to this, and Terry perfected it, I believe, tremendously when it came to getting back in the 1st round. We're going to talk about that first draft pick that you lose for next season, but real quick, Robert, Phillip, go around the table real fast. Jalen Walker, Michael Williams, or were you happy with the way that it fell out, that you got Jalen Walker, that was the selection? Or if you had your choice, would it have been Michael Williams?
No. For me, I felt like I was one that, I was cool with, Michael Williams, but I wasn't like too crazy about him. I'm more happy that we got Jalen Walker. It felt that way. I have no, hate towards Michael Williams, but, it's just I felt like Jalen Walker was the better player. So I'm kind of – and then due to his injury, past, he has injuries a good bit, but, with Williams. But overall, I just felt like Jalen Walker was the game changer, and he's going to be.
Absolutely.
We're going to see him walking it out on Sundays, every Sunday now.
Yep. Yeah, I think Jalen was the better player. I agree with Phillip, because Michael, his injury history and all that. And of course, either way, whether it would have been Michael or whether it would have been Jalen, it's going to make the fan base happy. This fan base has been longing for a star player, a game changer, to come out of Athens and just come up the road to Atlanta. The prayers have been answered, and I'm in that category myself. It tickles me to death that we are drafting Bulldogs, and not in the 7th round, like we've done in the past, like with a John Fitzpatrick. Nothing against John Fitzpatrick, but, he hasn't been a game changer. This is a breath of fresh air. This is what the fan base wanted. Terry has listened, and like I said, Terry's cooked. It's great.
Yeah, and that's the thing that has kind of baffled me, that I can't believe that the Philadelphia Eagles had kind of figured out that nobody else had. You draft the best players from the best teams in the best NCAA conference in football, and look at what it does for you. And it's a simple recipe that every team should follow. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand that, the ACC have got guys, the Big Ten's got guys. I mean, there are guys everywhere. I mean, there's a reason that they're professional, they're in the draft in the first place. But to me, when you have the SEC, has been in the national title just about every damn year, whether it be AP, whether it be college playoffs, you've got Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee always making a push. You've got and it's like, why don't the Falcons go get those guys? Because those are the guys winning national titles. And those are the guys that when you watch college football on Saturday, you're going, damn, when he puts on an NFL uniform, he's going to make a difference. And it's like, man, this guy from Georgia could, be doing this. Or, man, this guy from Alabama could be doing that. And it kind of, I think the Falcons kind of finally figured out, like, hey, if we go get guys from these conferences that are, constantly playing for national titles or pushing to be in, in the national title game, or, hey, these guys are, AP, top 10 teams in the NCAA. If we go get that translates to the NFL, and it makes a difference for your team. And I think, and maybe the good news is like, yeah, Terry's seat was hot, but maybe that's what it took for Terry to be like, look, there's no more playing around. There's no more looking everywhere and, building and maybe take a chance on this guy. It's like, let's just go get the best damn player that fits our needs and go get the guy from the best conference, from the best college football teams in the nation. Yep. And it looks like he's absolutely hit a home run.
Absolutely. Real quick, man, we got a good comment here. I'm gonna get the screen sharing pulled up here in a minute so we can get the live reaction of DFU at the draft here in a minute. I want you guys to speak on this, and when I get back, before we do the screen share, I'll speak on it for a second. But this is a very great comment from Travis Preston. He says, a draft, but he's still wondering about cornerback 2 and center here in Atlanta. As guys, we do know Ryan Nuzil is officially not under contract in Atlanta. So right now on your roster, nobody is under that center spot. Let's talk about it here for a second while I get this stuff put up. Travis Preston, excellent question, my guy. Robert, Cody, Phillip, kick it off, man. Y'all take it away.
Yeah, I think the Ryan Nuzil thing, is obviously going to get done. I think he gets it done. I think the Falcons are probably comfortable there. They know him. Michael Penix knows him. I think I think we've even pulled up stats on him versus, Drew Dahlman. And if it wasn't better, it was, pretty much the same. So I think they'll find a way to get Ryan Nuzil, signed, put him back under center, keep that continuity of the offensive line together, keep that familiarity together, especially for Michael Penix going into, season 2, but really, season 1, because, three games in the NFL is not enough to get you, really settled in. You need that 5-6, kind of area. Cornerback 2, man, that one's going to be a little bit interesting. I think that,
Samuel Jr.
I would say you've got. To me, I think Jalen. I don't know if Jalen Ramsey's technically. I think that's still an option. From what I keep hearing, that's heating up between us and the Dolphins.
But let me say this: so at cornerback 2, you have a Clark Phillips still on the roster that did pretty nice towards the end of his rookie season, and also you have guys that have played the cornerback position in college. Bowman's not only a nickelback; he can play different selections on the defense. So cornerback 2 to me, I feel like will be a in-house fix right now. And I guess that's the word I'm looking for. To me, that's what could happen with cornerback 2. Center, to me, Phillip, we talked about it over dinner with Pops at the center out of Ohio State that went undrafted. That's an eye to look out for. Phillip, I didn't get his name, but shout out to Pops for that hot take. Center out of Ohio State went undrafted. That is the guy to look out for, as Pop says. So there's your little sneak peek from the man himself, Big Dog Pops. Robert, anything about the center position?
Yeah, I was when I was watching the 7th round a little bit ago, the kid from Ohio State, I was sitting there thinking, maybe Terry could, trade back into the round, but he went undrafted.
McLaughlin or whatever.
Seth McLaughlin. Yeah, I was like, this kid, he's the best available, why not make a move? But he slid off the board, so he's still an option. And, back to the CB2, I think if given the opportunity, I think Clark Phillips will take that position. Mm-hmm. I really do. And of course, the drafting of Billy Bowman, I think that, he could fill in. He's a bigger guy. He's more of a safety, but, he's a hybrid player. I think, he could be like a Swiss Army knife for us, in the secondary.
Absolutely. Real quick, man, if you're tuning in over on YouTube, man, y'all hit that like button. Leave your boy a comment. You guys do not understand how much a like helps me get this stream out to other Falcon fans, guys. We greatly appreciate it. If you just hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for free, and man, we greatly appreciate you guys even watching DFU here. Head over to Facebook groups and hit the like button if you want to be a part of the Facebook groups here at DFU. Manuel McFarland with a great question here. He says, who's our middle linebacker now, guys? Or do we still need to find one? So this is where the Troy Anderson gets to talking right here. This is where the Troy Anderson talks fall into place. Our PM in the chat where it says anything we can get from Troy Anderson will be gravy. So here's the thing. If Troy can stay healthy, I think that's your MLB. And maybe I'm crazy to say that because he's been hurt the past 2 years and you really haven't seen what he can do in a full season. So maybe, yes, you are absolutely right, Manuel. That is still a big need here in Atlanta, possibly middle linebacker. Maybe that's a spot where Diablo fills in.
Mm-hmm.
You just went and got a Divine Diablo.
And
so
may we say he was there Thursday night.
He was.
Took a picture with him.
I think a lot of Falcon. I think a lot of Falcon fans, and this ain't no shot at Manuel. This is me in general. A lot of Falcon fans forget about some of the off-season signings. Like I forgot about Fox until we were up in Atlanta and somebody mentioned the name Fox, and I'm like, damn, dude.
He's on stage now.
And I'm like, I forgot we even, you know what I'm saying? I forgot we even signed Fox, and it's like maybe we don't need to go get Nolan out of Ole Miss, and then you pull the trigger on Jalen Walker, and I'm like, hey, I mean, this thing's a bigger picture, and the Atlanta Falcons have got it figured out. So at the end of the day, I think whatever it is that needs to be addressed, they'll figure it out. But every defense has that weak link, and right now we can all agree linebacker is that weak link here in Atlanta, and that's what we talked about. What is still missing here in Atlanta, Cody?
Well, but if Troy Anderson, remember back when he was healthy, what him and Caden Ellis were doing together too. I mean, and that's the thing that excites me about the Jalen Walker thing. Because can you imagine you get Troy Anderson healthy, you've got Caden Ellis, and you've got Troy Anderson all healthy, barring injuries. 2 years ago when Anderson was healthy, who were the two guys that you always saw, stopping the run, towards, the middle of the field? When you saw 55, you saw Troy Anderson right behind him. And if it wasn't Troy Anderson making the stop, or when Troy Anderson was making the stop, Caden Ellis was right behind him. Those two guys, fed off of each other. So now you, like I say, you add in that Jalen Walker effect, and it's, man, there are just no words that I have right now. This is like I say, it's just the first time that I've been excited to watch our defense get on the field and go play. I'm very biased. I'm normally an offensive guy. I played center for 10 years. So I'm always, but this is the first time in a long time that I'm like, damn, I'm honestly hoping when we open up at home, the first
we start defense
is they defer and we get to watch that defense work.
That's same, bro. Like, I'm so ready to see this defense hit the field. Shout out to Tony Primetime done in the chat with it. He says, hey, Uncle Cody, overall A+ here for these Atlanta Falcons. Shout out to Tony Primetime in the chat with it. He says, Jalen Walker is a once-in-a-lifetime player according to Wes Durham and a spy for the QB. So that's what I'm excited to see, because even if you see Caden Ellis, you still have a Jalen Walker as a QB spy. Like, there's so many options this defense could run, and that's why I like the Jeff Ulbrich as the hire, because he's known for the different packages. He's known for switching things up.
And see, and this is something else that we that honestly that we need to address as Falcon fans, man. This is the first time in a long time that it's not just Falcon color, analysts being like, holy, oh my God, like the Falcons knocked it out. Pat McAfee talked about how well the Falcons draft. ESPN's talked about how well we draft. We're getting spotlighted based off of how we drafted for the first time, probably.
Guys, this is another name. This is another name. Tony has brought this name up continuous throughout the preseason or throughout the offseason. Alec Lindstrom, Chris Lindstrom's brother or cousin, one of the two, center.
Yeah, his brother.
Center still available. So, guys, there is still a center that the Falcons could go sign, and it won't cost them much here. That's the great thing about not having to draft a center, because there's so many that go undrafted that get selected afterwards. So, definitely a great name. I'm trying to find the comment because, guys, we got a superstar in the chat. The check down is in the chat with a shout out to the check down. He said, let's go. I'm very happy with the draft. Clark Phillips will do well this year. Shout out to the check down. Check down, man. Get with me on Facebook or Twitter, wherever it is that we chatted before, and let's get you linked in on a special guest here on the podcast. I want to get your views on this year's draft. If you haven't checked out the check down, man, please do so. The man drops some mad content over on his channel. Shout out to the check down. Probably one of the best editors that I know in the content creator game. So shout out to the check down. Guys, it's time for the live. It's time for the live reaction here of DFU Draft Night. It's probably 2 to 3 minutes. I think that's short enough, not too very long.
Is it the one that you got or me?
It's my live on Facebook. I'm just going to share.
Yeah, mine. Boy, I was hollering and shit, man. I was excited.
Let's get over here. Here we go. Let me know if you can hear it, guys. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go, chat. Who we picking right here, chat?
We're live on Facebook here at Draft Night.
Who's the white guy?
Yeah, that's me asking who the white guy is.
They took forever.
Jalen Walker or Mike Green. That's the only option here at 15.
They played too much that night.
They did. They took forever, dude.
I actually know why they did. I'll tell
Here
you
it
why.
is. Here it is, Atlanta. Here it is.
Field is packed out, Falcon fans. The field is shoulder to shoulder
Let's
right
go.
now.
Let's go. Let's go! Let's go!
Me in the corner over there.
Yeah! Yes, sir! Yeah! Woo, 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 woo. Let's go! Bring it to the A, baby! Bring it to the A! Bring it back home!
Falcon fans, you get the live reaction here of DFU Draft Night. Man. It was incredible, boys.
Did anybody catch the color of his suit anyway?
Yeah, maroon red,
red and black.
Yeah. He knew he was coming to the A, man. He knew what was.
It could have been just a respect thing to Georgia. I like my red and black. Showing thanks for them, but it worked out perfect. Suits the same color. It's like he was ready.
Absolutely. I'm trying to find. Go ahead, Cody. Go ahead.
Oh, so yeah. So I actually heard Terry Fontenot explain what took so long with that pick, and I think it was more of a joke than anything. But Terry said, obviously they did a bunch of improvements there at Flowery Branch, and obviously, when they're showing them, kind of talking and stuff, he said, "Man, we just got a brand new draft room, and we had to show it off. We wanted all the camera shots we could get to see all the new furniture, all the new." That was Terry's explanation, was that they wanted to show off the new war room.
I feel like for sure Terry was fielding calls. I know people were calling.
For a minute,
was just
I
listening.
can't lie. I thought we were about to lose our pick. Because they just
when it got down to like 40 seconds, I'm looking at Cody. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is taking so long?
I remember us.
And Cody's like, I don't know, dude. I don't know what's happening.
At the same time, me and Daddy was like, we're sitting there like we hope they got this pick in because they were just sitting there and we're like, what's going on?
Well, and that's what I don't know if you heard me, Chase, because of how loud it was. But I had said I was like, wouldn't it be the most Atlanta Falcon thing ever to miss the pick and we got skipped over?
Yeah, no shit, dude.
And that's happened before. It
has. Yep. Shout out to Georgia Textboy in the chat. He says, yes, 2 years straight we drafted players from schools who played in the conference championship and or playoffs in the last 4 years. Absolutely, man. And that's how you win, man. That's how you get continuous players. Look at the Eagles, as Cody mentioned earlier. Bulldog, Bama, all SEC players continuously in the top 2 to 3 draft picks.
Yep.
So, absolutely, man. Avid said, New Orleans with the show pick. LMAO. That's crazy. Real quick, man. Let's talk about it. Well, no, we'll save it. We'll save it because that's going to be a later. That'll be a later comment. Georgia Textboy said, outside the offensive tackle, Wisconsin is an OL factory.
Yeah, Wisconsin is. Absolutely, man. They're corn-fed boys up there, man. Let's say you can't be mad when you see an O lineman come out of Wisconsin, Nebraska.
6'7".
Yeah, dude, he's massive.
Bro, like, this is NBA height, bro. Like, he's the same height as LeBron. What's going on?
He is a mammoth, dude. And Robert was talking about it earlier, man. I mean, a selection there could even turn into a starter one day here in Atlanta. So, you got 4 day one starters here, we know for sure, and possibly your 5th pick could be a starter here for the Atlanta Falcons. A great draft. Chat, going off with it, man. Chat, let me know your draft select or your draft grade here for the Atlanta Falcons. I keep saying draft selection like it isn't already over with. Caleb says, how about New Orleans draft, man? Georgia, Texas boys said JD question mark.
They gonna need
JD
that
Bertrand. JD Bertrand. That's a good question.
Who was also there.
Yeah, what could JD Bertrand be this year if he can stay out of concussion protocol? Because he was in that thing for like 5 weeks. JD Bertrand was in concussion protocol for a while last season. Georgia Texas boys said, I think this was an A+ trade.
Absolutely.
Avnil says, don't forget about Jordan Fuller. It's another name.
Yep.
In my opinion, Anderson and Diablo could be the coverage linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's looking like. But the coverage part with Anderson's name kind of scares me. That kind of terrifies me when I hear Anderson in coverage. Troy Anderson in coverage. That kind of makes me cringe a little. I mean, let's be for real, man. We keep it a buck on DFU, and let's keep it a buck. Troy Anderson is not a good coverage linebacker.
But let's put it this way. What have we had? Look at it this way. We haven't had anything built around on the defense. Let's try it out now. We got people that got to get to the quarterback. Baker thinks he's hot shit. I want to see you high on the goddamn ground, brother.
And this isn't a Troy Anderson diss. This isn't a diss to Georgia Texas boys comment either. But my ordeal with Anderson is I was high on the Montana kid coming out of the draft. Guys, I mean, he was a speedster. He played quarterback, running back. I thought he was going to be that sideline to sideline linebacker that the Falcons had needed for years since Deion Jones, pretty much. And he wasn't. He got hurt. He was a fast linebacker. He did make some pressure, and then he got hurt again. So it's like if Anderson can stay healthy and they use Anderson the correct way, that's why I don't think you should use Anderson as a coverage. I think Anderson and his speed should be more or less as a blitz package for Troy Anderson. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe Troy Anderson takes this game to the next level and becomes that coverage linebacker this offseason. He
can definitely do it.
Either Jalen or Ellis at weak side linebacker or Mike. I agree. He says Badley or Baldley.
Baldley, that's who was speaking on our draft earlier. Remember what we were talking
about? Brian Baldinger.
Check down says, let's do it. Hey, get with me, brother, and we'll get a time and a date, and we'll get it lined up here with you.
Can I just say something about our safety, though? Like Xavier Watts, you know.
He is on a restricted free agent, but now, so here's the deal with Ryan Nuzil's contract. Just spoke about this at lunch. Ryan Nuzil can field calls from other teams, and the Falcons can then match his contract before he signs a contract with anybody else. That's how that works. So if somebody calls and offers Nuzil a check that the Falcons are not willing to spend, you have 0 centers on your roster. I think that would be crazy for that to happen, that Ryan Nuzil would be signed somewhere the Falcons couldn't match because he's not that big of a I guess you could say big name player. So
I thought we had
I don't mean to interrupt anybody.
Breaking news. What you got? Breaking news.
Well, Almil, he did send me something, through text message, and it shows like our draft grades, and then it says most valuable 2025 NFL draft class, and we're number 1 on the list as the top highest. Then you have Cleveland with their 5,000 quarterbacks that they signed.
LaMarcus, boy, what's going on, homie? DFU in the house. What's good, LaMarcus?
I thought we had a center after.
You have Gwen. I keep forgetting. He's the draft prospect that you drafted.
What about what is it? Not Bergeron.
Matt
Hennessy. For that.
Matt Hennessy.
Matt Hennessy. Yeah, Hennessy came back.
He's a free agent.
Is he a free agent? I thought we had signed him. I thought
he's still available. He's still out there for grabs. I mentioned it today with Pops. He is still available. You can still go grab a guy that's been here.
Can I say,
Javon Gwynn, I know, is still on the roster.
We're speaking about, our picks and all. I want to talk about
the draft night reaction was awesome. Appreciate it, dog. Glad y'all enjoyed that. I have some more content. We just haven't dropped it yet from draft night. So stick around for that, man. It'll be in our shorts. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, guys. If you're watching this live and you enjoy what you see, ring the bell so you know when we go live, so you guys can be here right when the channel starts. Go ahead, Cody, Philip, whoever was talking. My bad.
Speaking on our picks, I just want to talk about Xavier Watts. Personally,
Philip, I don't want to interrupt you, dog, but this comment right here, did we not talk about this? Philip, did we not talk about this in the group chat, guys? Philip, Cody, Robert. I told you guys that last visit meant something with Jalen Walker and Michael Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That last visit was huge. You did it with Drake. You did it with Penix, Walker. You did it with Bijan. I mean, guys, it's almost like a pattern here when it comes to the draft now in the first round. Philip, go ahead.
Now, are we sure? No more ADD moment.
LaMarcus Boyd with an A- for the draft grade.
No, but speaking on our pick, like Xavier Watts, people just kept throwing in Malachi Starks. Yes, he's good, but I feel like we just got the best safety out of this draft. 100%. Yep. This guy's a ball hawk. He's hell. Even in his interview, he explained that he took his play of game and he watched Jesse Bates and took that and put it into his own game, and now he's playing beside him. Just imagine how that's gonna go. Like, we have another Jesse Bates on the other side of Jesse Bates. Like, this is gonna be a fun year, man. Like, plenty of years to come to as well. And then we got these two right here, man. Like, just
studs.
Look at these monsters, bro. Like,
look how much taller James Pierce is than Jalen Walker, and Jalen Walker is phenomenal. We've seen him in person. Look at James Pierce now. I mean, these guys are mammoths. Speaking on James Pierce, while we're on the subject, you trade back in, guys. You give up the first-round pick next year. You give up the second for this year, and then you received a third-round pick from the Los Angeles Rams, which you selected today. What in the third-round selection? So James Pierce Jr., guys. Just a stat, just to talk about real quick. The highest percentage of pass rushes with a pressure last season for the top edge in the draft was not Jalen Walker, not Mike Green, not Abdul Carter, but James Pierce Jr. at the top of that list, guys. You got the best edge rusher in the draft, I believe, in James Pierce Jr. Anybody want to talk on that for a second? James Pierce Jr. officially a dirty bird, guys. This is huge.
My main thing about him, I like how humble he was. Like, yes, he could have came in with the suit just like Jalen Walker, but it just kind of showed like I'm still human too. Like I'm just a normal person that's living my dream. He walked in with the sweatpants and then had his bag ready with the sweatshirt on over it. Like, he just looks like he's humbled and just ready to come in and eat, man. Like, I'm telling you. Some of these starters that we got on, like these edge starters, y'all gotta be careful. These boys they're gonna take the job.
So let's talk about that for a second, Philip. Like, you talk about the edges, a guy that has kind of slipped behind the blinds, Zach Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of hopes for Zach Harrison, guys, and this draft class is not looking good for those that want to start on the
Katie, but you better get it right.
Like. It's getting deep,
and it's just gonna get better for these young guys because we got a Leonard Floyd that's been in the league for a good little bit. That's been getting constant sacks. He's gonna teach them to all what they already know. It's just so fun, man. This is gonna be like a Dwight Freeney to Vic Beasley, but I feel like these guys are better than what Vic Beasley was. No shade to him because he did have 5 sacks almost every year, but
dude,
it's going to be fun.
Got to stay healthy is one of the realest comments I've seen all night.
Caleb has a good comment right here too.
James Pierce has been consistent in the SEC the past 3 seasons. That says a lot. That says a lot.
And then there's another one that he put with his comparison that with Leonard Floyd. That's
comparison with Leonard Floyd.
Pierre Paul. Yep.
Yeah.
Man, it just. The front seven, man, is going to be scary if you're looking at it. I mean, look at all your possibilities. You've got Rook, you've got AK, you've got David Onyemata, Eddie Goldman, as far as I know, is still hanging around.
I thought Eddie Goldman signed somewhere else.
I didn't see if he had or not. I was pretty sure he was still here. Is he not?
I believe, is a free agent. I don't think he signed anywhere. I think he's still rotating out.
Let's say maybe. So that's somebody else that you can bring
No,
back.
he went to the Washington Commanders.
Oh, did he go to the Commanders? Let's say I don't remember seeing him go.
I remember him. I remember when he got signed. Yeah.
Let's say. Well, but and think too, guys. Matthew.
Douglas
I know this one may get some hate, but
know.
Matthew Judon is still out there. Imagine bringing back Judon with this defense with all the guys. Let's say it's man. The possibilities, man. Who do y'all think is going to be that starting 7, 4 up front and the 3?
See, so that's where, I didn't mean to say Dorless was getting cut. I meant to say Malone. D'Angelo Malone is a guy I think that could be on the edge of getting cut when it comes to this edge room. This edge room is so deep. A guy that has barely played any. He's been on special teams, but he has not been a starting.
Caleb with another good point. We still got
a starting player in Atlanta.
Braylon Trice is coming back. Hopefully, he's staying healthy.
And he looked healthy
yesterday or Thursday. Yeah, he looked very
I have
healthy.
a picture with him. He looked very healthy. Showing love to the chain and everything.
I thought we brought Judon back, but after this draft, I think those talks are over.
Yeah.
With you signing Leonard Floyd, that's your veteran. That's it. I'm just being honest. That's how I feel.
I think this may be over with.
I don't know, though, because think about, what he did say. Yeah, he kind of left kind of pissy at the end of it, but he also seemed to me kind of like the guy that was, because his initial statement was, the Falcons don't owe me anything. They don't know me as a player. They don't know. Don't you think that the way that the season ended last year left a bad taste in his mouth, and he's going, I need to go back to Atlanta and find a way to make, to show that, show, even if it's not the Falcons, but to show another team, for 2026 that, hey, I'm worth a little bit of money, that I can improve your defense. Because let's be honest, the one thing about Judon, and I know Judon, he was kind of, he was our sack leader. But the thing about Judon, too, that people forget was how many games did I complain when we were watching that Judon was getting held constantly. And there was a lot of things. So even though the Judon experiment, some people want to call a failure, I still think that Matthew Judon made a difference.
He wasn't a failure.
And then again, it's one of those things you're getting, I don't think that Matthew Judon was unhappy with the Falcons. I think Matthew Judon was unhappy with Jimmy Lake.
Yes.
Now you've got Ulbrich coming in, and it's just like, man, and look at what's going on with this defense. Who wouldn't want to come play with these kids that we just drafted and with the guys that we have coming back, So I don't know, man. Is even with the draft, I don't see why you wouldn't bring, if Judon doesn't go somewhere else, by the time training camp starts, why not bring him back and see what you can get?
My only thought is, though, how is rotations going to look? If you do that, who's going to play, who's not? You're going to have good guys that's sitting on the bench at that.
Well, see, to me, that's a good problem to have. That's the problem that you want to have. And I know it's one of those things you definitely don't want to take guys out,
But then again, rotations.
I was going to say, man, and it's limitless. And to Chase's point, Ulbrich is good about switching things up and bringing in different formations and doing different things. So when you have those guys, and that was another thing that you get into your deep playoff pushes and stuff like that. Guys are tired. It's you got guys that need to take a break, and that's one thing that I wish that Zach Robinson would figure out with Bijan is that you need to get Tyler in there, because Bijan can't. You shouldn't load Bijan up with 95% of the runs all the time, because you want Bijan not having heavy legs when you're getting into January, into February, making playoff pushes, towards the Super Bowl. You want him as fresh as you can have him. Nobody goes into the NFL season, deep into it healthy or totally 100%. But again, so you get, you add a Judon. Well, so now AK's, tired, but now you got Judon over there. And Judon's tired, and now you've got Pierce Jr. So it's one of those things is you can keep moving these guys in and out, and the healthier you can keep your guys and keep that defense running like a machine, man, it's just a good problem to have, figuring out who's going to be on there.
I want to talk about the fact that ESPN, one of their announcers, speaking on the trade back in for James Pierce Jr., gave the Atlanta Falcons a grade F for the trade that they made to get back into the first round, but gave the LA Rams a grade A. Was it that bad of a trade? I mean, are we just hating on the Atlanta Falcons right now, or I mean,
they're hating.
I was gonna say,
how do we feel, Chad? How do we feel about the trade back into the first round? All you lost was a first round pick that could still potentially be picked back up this next season. There's no telling what could happen from now until the draft. Like,
well, who cares? Who cares about that?
As Millie Mills says, the F stands for fuck them. I agree with Millie Mills here. That's exactly what that F stands for. Shove it up.
And that's ridiculous to give us an F for that. Because look at the way I look at it, you had 5 defensive players that could absolutely make an impact for any football team taken. You had Jalen Walker, you had Pierce Jr., you had Malachi Starks, you had Mike Green, and the other kid, whoever it was. There was 5. There was 5 guys Will Johnson that made an absolute difference. And the Falcons got 2 out of those 5. And you're telling me that deserves an F grade?
Cody, that is a great point. That is a great point. So out of the DFU draft board, you took 2 guys off of our top 5 board.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is freaking tremendous. As a group from DFU, the Atlanta Falcons get an A+.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they took 2 guys off of our top 5 board. It's crazy.
And I think it's one of those things. I think Pierce Jr. and Mike Green, people were flip flopping them between who was going to be better, who makes a difference. And the Falcon, and of course, everybody's hyped up on Jalen Walker. And like I say, you just took 2 of the best 5 defensive players in the NFL draft, and it cost you a first round draft pick next year. Who cares? Because you know what? If he comes in and makes an impact, which he will, and will be a day 1 starter, he was a first round draft pick. So you got your first round draft pick now.
Anyway,
I mean, so what? You spent your first round draft pick this year, and now you're better immediately instead of, we were that one edge rusher away from being, because this is the scenario you get into. The Washington games, where we can't get, Jaden Daniels on the ground. You get into the games against, the Cardinals, and you got Dobbs running around on us where 1 sack ends that game, a couple of years ago. The same thing with the Vikings. You can't get anybody on the ground. Same thing with Bo Nix in the Denver game. You couldn't get Baker Mayfield. I would say, so now you've got your guy now. So you're not going. So in 2026, you're not going, well, damn, if we had that one extra edge rusher that could have got a quarterback on the ground and got a stop here, but instead, or even, when we played the Eagles and you got Jalen Hurts, doing his thing, now you've got that guy right now. So you're immediately better now, not next year better, not 2 years down the road better. You're better right now in 2025. And for all my marbles, that's all I care about. Like, I know people worry about 2-3 years down the road. I don't care about 2-3 years down the road. I'm not there yet. We can fix whatever we need to fix in 2-3 years, in 2 or 3 years. I'm worried about 2025 and what the Falcons are doing starting in September.
Now. Absolutely. It is win now season in Atlanta. Yes, great question here from Avno in the chat. He says, do we think Jalen Walker is going to be wearing number 11? And I'll get my input on it. I say, why not?
That was literally about to be my answer.
Julio Jones did not sign a 1-day contract with the Falcons to retire. He gave his respect, his dues to Atlanta, but you didn't retire Matt Ryan's. Why are we retiring number 11? I think you've seen other receivers when Julio's departure from Atlanta. You've seen backup receivers. You've seen practice squad receivers wear 11.
Like hell wearing it.
I think, without a doubt, Jalen Walker wears 11.
You got people that's in preseason that can't even catch a ball wearing it. So I feel like this is a worthy player to wear it, and it's on defense, so it doesn't really matter a whole
Cody,
lot.
Robert, great question here from I don't know, guys. Y'all's input on will Jalen Walker wear 11, Mr. Robert?
Yes, he should wear it. I mean, the Falcons don't retire numbers. The number 10 is not retired. And I'm an old fart.
Thank you, bro.
Who that guy is. Some of you younger guys might not know who Steve Bartkowski is. The man was my idol. He is the reason I was a Falcon fan. And that number's still available. Mm-hmm. So, yes, the number 11 is not sacred. Julio, he paid his respects to Matt. He paid his respect to the fans. He did not pay his respect to the organization. Sorry, pal. Your number's still available. Get over it.
I mean, we still let people wear 21. So I mean,
yes, 21, 7, 84.
Yep, absolutely. Jalen Walker wears 11 this year. I believe. I don't think, and I think any fans that disagree with it, man,
it fits him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's his college number. You know what I mean? I mean that's. I don't think he should have to pay nothing for it. I think he for sure.
Yeah, there's only one.
Prove anything he in college. Like this is a guy that's earned his right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like, there's a player.
Yeah, there's only one untouchable number here in Atlanta, right? You know, and that's number 2. I would say nobody. I think Steve Barkowski definitely, probably should have his, but the number 2 should never be worn in Atlanta ever again.
Also, this is random, and I was going to use it tonight as our new segment for DFU. We talked about it in the group chat, the Breaking the Ice segment here for DFU. Just a random topic for us to chat about. It could be a topic around the whole NFL, but this topic today is about the Atlanta Falcons. Guys, we can go around the table and give a topic, like a random topic to break the ice. If you want to start it off, whatever you want to do. I want to read this comment real quick. Millie says, Georgia Tate's boy says, if we didn't draft Pierce, he would have been a Raven and Stark would have been an Eagle. I was talking to Pops earlier about the trade back into the first round. I truly believe this because not only after that, guys, we talked to Lieutenant Dan the other night, and I'm sidetracking on the Breaking the Ice subject with this, but this is more important, I feel like, because James Pierce is an Atlanta Falcon. The fact that you traded back into the first to get Pierce because you didn't think Pierce was going to make it to the second round. Donovan from Boston College wasn't supposed to make it out of the first round. He didn't get selected until early second. So the Falcons didn't know exactly, I feel like. The Falcons didn't know with James Pierce if he was going to slide out of that first because on a lot of people's draft board before the maturity slide, before that happened, they were saying they didn't know if James Pierce Jr. would mature enough. That was the cause of the slide of James Pierce. At one time, James Pierce was ranked number 2 as the best edge rusher in this draft behind Abdul Carter. So I think initially the Falcons got 2 top 10 guys on draft night because Jalen Walker was supposed to go to the Carolina Panthers at 8, and you were not even supposed to even see Jalen Walker past 10. And so I think the Falcons really hit on that. We can go around that real quick. Was the trade worthy enough for the Atlanta Falcons to stay – to trade back into the first round and select Jalen Walker at 15 and then make the trade for James Pierce? Was it worthy enough of a trade to lose the first round?
Absolutely. If that pick next year ain't even going to make a damn because it's going to be a high pick because we're going to be in the playoffs.
I think for sure you win the NFC South.
Yep. You're going to be in the playoffs. It don't make a damn. That's going to be a high pick.
Secured that. That's what was so exciting to me. You secured the NFC South day 1 of draft night. Like to me anyway. Yeah. Robert, your thoughts on the trade back in, losing the first round, gaining, losing your first next year, losing the second this year, and then gaining the third this year. What could you give that trade? Would you give it an A through a D? What would that trade be for you?
I give it an A because, for one, we got a beast player out of it, a player that a lot of us were honestly thinking we were going to use that 15th pick on. And, of course, Jalen was still available, so, we use it there. And the fan base and everybody in the national media and us as fans as well, we want to win now. And Terry went into this deal with that mindset. And I've been seeing it all weekend, what a first-round pick. How dumb can you be? Hey, this fan base wants to win now. Don't contradict yourself, people.
Terry wants his job.
Exactly. Terry wants his job, and if he's going to keep the job, he's going to do the best he can to put a winning product on the field, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. I give the trade an A. And who's to say, if we had that first round pick next year? I mean, are we going to go out and draft another Tack McKinley?
Mm-hmm. People are acting like this is a 2011 trade all over again for Julio Jones. We didn't just give around 5 to 6 picks to one team. We only gave them 1, and they said bet. We got. Well,
you gave them 2, losing the second round pick, but I mean that was gonna be regardless if you made it if James Pierce made it the day 2, the Falcons were trading up to get an edge rusher.
And it was a 7th round pick as well.
Yeah.
What was that? Yeah, late.
I mean, who cares? Who gives a damn about that? But
yeah, I mean,
that could be another bargaining chip next year if we do want to trade back up.
Yep.
Well,
Cody, what do you give this trade? A through
yeah,
B?
Yeah, I've kind of already made my point on it that I think it was absolutely an A. And, again, I'm one of those people is like, screw those draft picks, man. I would say because you can always find a way to go get them back.
Chat, let me know your trade grade here. What do you give the trade for James Pierce, losing the first and the second, gaining the third, and losing a late seventh? Give me your trade grade, A through D. What the Atlanta Falcons get here? Because guys, they're dogging the Falcons for this trade, and I don't quite understand it because, like I said, I've already stated, James Pierce Jr. was the number 2 edge in this whole draft until the slide with the maturity mishap or whatever. But definitely a good comment here from Georgia Texas boy. Millie Mills in the comment section says, I think all them teams playing the Shador game probably got us players we shouldn't have got. Well, that was crazy. We're going to talk about that slide because that to me was like almost conspiracy crazy. We'll talk about that here on the podcast. But real quick, back to the breaking the ice segment. I want to talk about the fact that, and Cody, I mentioned it at the bins. Why is there no banners hanging from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium? Why is there no NFC South championship banners? Why is there no, NFC South division winners banners anywhere in? Why are they not hanging from the rafters of the bin? So when opponents come in the stadium, that's the first thing they see when they look up at the halo board is 100%. Our flags.
It's because they're all hung up in Flowery Branch for some unknown reason.
At the practice facility.
They're gatekeeping them, bro.
They're dead ass in the practice facility, on the inside practice facility, up on the walls.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know. I kind of part of me is like
the dome was fun. You've seen them.
Yeah, and the only thing I can think is the only reason I could figure that they're not there is just, I mean, let's be honest. Mercedes-Benz Stadium is world-class stadium, and the only thing I can think is, well, if you put up the Falcons, then you got to put up United's, and now you've got, But to me, that's the only thing I can think about, really. But and I think I mentioned this to you at the draft party. I know up in level 300 they've got like a Legends and thing up there. But I agree with you too. I mean, I think those things, those banners, should be displayed very proudly in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now, I don't know if they're doing, but then you should have the NFC Championship one. And so I was gonna say, well, maybe they're waiting to win something. Well, I guess that was technically the Georgia Dome when we won the NFC Championship. That was last game there. So I don't know if they're waiting to win something in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, to hang them there. But yeah, I'm with you. I think those things need to be displayed very proudly because it's not easy to win, the division, let alone the NFC, the NFC period.
Yep.
I just can't wait for them to hang. There's going to be one when we win the Super Bowl. There has to be one.
Yeah, absolutely, dude, absolutely. Aldenwood says Terry knew he was under the hot seat, so get 2 first-round picks and lose next year first round. I'm fine with that. His franchise needs to win now. Yep. Terry C, as Robert, Cody, and Phillips has all stated, is a lot cooler now after draft night here in Atlanta. Man, after day one, it was so much cooler. Like it was like Terry, if you hit on one more pick, bro, like you just got rid of all the rumors. Like after the first 2 picks, it was like, damn, dude, like Terry is cooking. I didn't see one negative fan in the comment section under a post.
Well, and that's the other thing too that I don't think
this comment's very true too. If you make the playoffs, you want to trade hands.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right. Well, and the other thing, I don't think we're giving Terry enough credit even for the other picks, man. I mean, because I was watching Watts from Notre Dame, and to Robert's point, he gave the Georgia Bulldogs fits in the Sugar Bowl, man. I was watching his highlights, man, and that kid is a ball hawk. I mean, you want to talk about, it seems like he just has the instinct to know where that ball's going to be. He's going to go get it.
In my opinion, the best safety in the draft.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would say, and then, who's the other guy I was watching?
This is a very true statement. It says, when we get the rings, the flags won't matter. Rise up. That is absolutely true, brother. Get us the ring, and we do not care. Right now, the flags is the only thing we have to be happy about. Dave Canales in the chat with it, clowning the opponent. Says Kelvin Banks with a dead emoji here. the Saints really sucked it up, guys.
They're gonna need his ass.
When the Saints didn't pick Shedeur Sanders, we all three immediately looked at each other and was like, "What in the hell
I laughed.
are they doing?" And then when the Panthers come up, all big chest, they about to grab Jalen Walker. They grab a freaking receiver at number 8, like McMillan, or he was projected to go in the top 10, 15, but not in the top. 8. It was like 10 to 20s when he was projected to land, and he went that early to the Panthers. I was like, guys, the NFC South is selling right now. But I will state the fact of the Panthers' receiver room is looking pretty nice now. But the Saints folded every round.
Yes,
every round. They drafted that Tyler Saul or whatever his name is. Like it was.
He throws it to the other team.
And now Shiloh Sanders, undrafted, goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the NFC South has got some new faces, guys, and I think it's going to be a fun season.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I would say it was, I think I sent y'all the video of, they were kind of breaking down some really badly ran franchises, and they were saying that the Saints right now are looking like the new Cleveland Browns, and that's just, just music to my ears because they did, dude. I mean, they absolutely botched this draft.
How happy was Travis Hunter that he didn't go to Cleveland?
Oh,
I mean, bro was practically dancing on the stage the whole time because Jaguars took him over Cleveland. That's and then the fact that let's talk about this has got to be the weirdest quarterback draft. The weirdest quarterback draft of the century, with the Jackson Dart before Shedeur Sanders, the Jalen Milroe, the Tyler Salt, the Oregon quarterback before Shedeur Sanders, the most completed passing rate in the FBS, didn't go to the 5th round. Guys, what happened? The NFL draft, were they trying to make a statement? Was it just, did he flunk his draft evaluations that bad? I mean, what happened with Shedeur Sanders? Why did Shedeur Sanders land so late in the 5th round?
So from what I understood, it seemed like Shedeur had an interview with the New York Giants, and he wound up coming late. And instead of, doing like the, hey, I'm sorry, whatever, there was more of an arrogance and a more of like, well, I'm Shedeur Sanders, I don't have to show up on time. And so I think that kind of got out that, he was really unprofessional with the Giants about being late to his draft meeting, to a team that could have taken him number 2 overall. And I think that kind of got out and really started dropping. And, and I hate to be this guy, but I'm going to be 100% honest with y'all. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be a decent quarterback. He's definitely going to be better than Desmond Ridder. But is he going to be like a Kirk Cousins, or is he going to be, I don't think so. I think a lot of Shedeur's, highlights and stuff come from his dad. I think he rode Primetime's coattails pretty hard. Whether he wants to believe it or not. So I think a lot of that came from that as well. I don't think Shedeur was the game changer that people think that he's going to be.
Tyler Booker. Hey, new faces in the chat with it, man. Y'all hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, man. We're glad to have y'all here tonight. Hit the like button and be sure to subscribe to DFU. Ring the bell if you like what you're seeing here tonight, guys. Alden in the chat with it says he was claiming to be the legend already and a difference maker. Just because your daddy's a legend doesn't mean you are. Absolutely. And I think
also goes to the comment. I feel like Dion messed it up.
Well, guys, let's not forget some of Shedor's issues in college. Some of the issues Shedeur had in college, where there was a game where Travis Hunter or somebody had scored a touchdown and the ball boy was going for the ball and he swiped it out of their hand, and Shedeur goes up to his face and makes a big confrontation about it. And then after the game, another one with the watch, and then another one where he goes up, a guy comes up to him to dap him up after the game, and he goes, "Oh, you that that N-word that was talking that ish on Instagram." And it's like, guy, you're in college, you're not even in the big leagues yet, and you're talking like you're in the big leagues. But then I have to agree to RG3, and I don't usually agree with RG3, and that's why where it comes to me to where it's like this is an issue with the NFL is because he brought up a good fact of it wasn't a problem when Johnny Manziel did what he did. It wasn't a problem when Baker Mayfield did what he did.
Baker told the whole sideline to suck his nuts, and he grabbed it. That is the wildest thing. And then he proceeded to lose, by the way. You still owe him one against Georgia.
Proceeded to take that L. Hold that. Go Dogs. But as I was saying, it's a real, I don't know. I really don't know. And maybe Shedeur Sanders is going to be a bust in the NFL, and this is why he slid so low. But to me, it's like, what really happened today in draft night 1? Like, dude, this guy really thought he was going first round.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this was a first-round pick and was still on Mel Kiper's board at number 1 all through the night because he slid so late. Like, every draft round, Shedeur Sanders was Mel Kiper's number 1 because he slid so far. And I don't know if you guys seen the Mel Kiper exchange with some of the guys live, but Mel Kiper was very heated about the fact that Shedeur Sanders sliding so far, and some of these quarterbacks ranked lower going before Shedeur. Chat, get active with it. Let me know your thoughts on the Shedeur Sanders slide. Philip, your thoughts on the slide?
I didn't really think much about it because, I was focused on what we had going on. But just like Georgia Texas boy said right here, I kind of watched his live on Instagram right after he got picked by the Browns in what was it, 6th round? It is what it is. He seemed humble. Fifth round. He didn't seem bothered by it. It is what it is. I don't know. I feel like if it had anything to do with it, it was kind of like what Dion said, that controlling what teams he's going to, because he knows connections, and he's not going to let his son go to certain places. I feel like that kind of ruined it a little bit. He called
the O-line out. He did call his O-line out in college. That is a big no-no. That is a huge no.
But at the end of the day, he got drafted. He seemed like he was cool with it. Do I think he's going to start? I have no idea. We're going to have to look into it. But, he's there now.
Not with the Mel Kiper shot. He said Mel Kiper said Ryan Leaf was going to be the guy. Sheesh.
Yeah, Mel Kiper's something else sometimes. Oh, man. I just like you say. I think. Do I think Shedeur's going to be a bust? Probably not. But do I think he's going to be the guy like his dad was? I really don't. Now, do I think he was better than like Dart and some of these other guys? Absolutely.
New Orleans.
Yeah, but but again, my thing is every now and then you need a guy in there that's an asshole and stuff like that. But who the one guy on your football team that can't be that guy is your quarterback.
Yep.
And I think it was just too much talking. And that was one of my big problems with Shedeur Sanders was when he called out his offensive line. You don't do that. Period. It may be a fact and it may be obvious to everybody. And, Helen Keller may see that your offensive line, sucks. But you don't call out. You do not call out your offensive line. And that's just poor. That's being a real bad teammate, man. And like I say, sometimes you got to have that team asshole. We've had those guys on the Falcons, and it may bother other people and stuff like that. But your quarterback cannot be that guy. Your quarterback has to be that Matt Ryan that stands out there as even though when we had that turnstile at guard and Schrader, man. Matt Ryan never got up there and went, he sucked. I would have had 450 yards. He goes, hey, man, my offensive line was great. I've got to do better. I've got to improve. I've got to – and that's what you got to have. And I think that really hurts.
Mendels has got a good topic here. Not Falcon related, but it is NFL related. A good breaking the ice topic says, does he win the Cleveland job in about 2 years? So let's look at the roster in Cleveland. Somebody's getting cut. And the thing is, the later you're selected in the draft, the easier it is. And my camera has went out, so just ignore the fact of that. But the easier it is for a team to cut you, the later you're selected. And Shedeur Sanders was a 5th-round pick, and he's going into a quarterback room of 5 people, including himself. That's was hoping it was going to be a Kirk Cousins, but that's probably not possible now. But it's going to be a Joe Flacco.
Still happen. No, the Browns, it can still happen.
Deshaun Watson, They also have the guy from Oregon they drafted. They drafted Shedeur Sanders. Guys, they drafted a quarterback in the 3rd round and then traded up in the 5th round to grab Shedeur Sanders.
Yes.
Okay, and then they have a 6th round. I forget who their veteran guy was.
So they've got Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and what was
that's the 5. That's the 5.
That's the 5 right there.
Yep. So this is going to be hard, I think, for Shedeur. But if he can go out there and play and lead in percentage like he did in the FBS and bring any kind of style of play he did in college to the NFL, I believe he will, one day start in the NFL. But I don't think it's going to be an easy road for Shedeur is what I'm trying to say. Because if it comes to where they absolutely need to get cap space and get under the 52-man roster, Shedeur would maybe be one of the easiest guys to cut other than Kenny Pickett on that roster. So because you just gave Joe Flacco a contract, more than likely not going to cut Joe Flacco unless he's, I guess, hurt or injured throughout the training camp. He is the vet guy that took him to the playoffs a couple years ago or last year. So
they went in no damn playoffs.
It's going to be it's going to be hard for the young cat, but I'm rooting for him. No hate to Shedeur from me.
No, absolutely not.
I ain't praying on his
I didn't agree.
ball,
I didn't agree with the slide. I think he should slide before. I really didn't think Jalen Milroe or the guy the Aints drafted or Gabriel would go before.
I can get the Milroe a little bit because he had SEC competition, but New Orleans though, you're fucking stupid, bro.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, in a way, I'm glad you did it in a way, but at the same time, you're stupid. Like, do I think he's gonna be the next Tom Brady? I mean, I don't really know, and I don't think he will be, but he's not gonna be absolutely just flat out garbage, though. Like,
no.
New Orleans passed up on an opportunity to get something that could help them out a little bit. Instead, they get something that's going to keep them in the same place, which is good, by the way.
Oh, yeah. No, that's good for us.
Which is great. Them little sidearm passes that he likes to do, because he panics like a little child. My safeties are going to love that, man, and I'm going to love that. So, I mean –
I was honestly a little surprised that Dallas didn't take him. I was like, Dak Prescott, I know he's got another 3 years on the new contract that he's got, but
and really, I don't see what they see in Dak. I'm just being honest.
I don't either.
Well, that just anything else. It's just nothing but a stat guy.
When Dak's on. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, Dak's not a slouch. Now, when it comes to clutch and being playoff ready, I don't think that Dak Prescott's the guy.
You go out there and win this playoff game? I can't.
Yeah. Well, and that's my thing is like, but who do the Dallas Cowboys have behind Dak Prescott? Because as far as I know, they really don't. I think it was Cooper Rush, and I think Cooper Rush is gone if I'm not mistaken. Nope. So I mean, I'm surprised Shedeur didn't go to Dallas. As a matter of fact, I told Chase that Thursday. I was like, right here, he goes to Dallas. I was like, he fell in Dallas's lap, and then Dallas took what was it, tackle? Yep. And I was just like, well, that's strange. So, but I don't know.
The mock draft were completely off after about the 5th pick. They were talking about how the mocks were in line, and then right after the 5th pick, it went pretty chaos. So I'll say real quick as a closing statement for DFU tonight's draft recap. My grade for the Falcons overall, the trade, everything, overall grade, I give the Atlanta Falcons an A. I'll give them an A for what they did draft night. I think now the Atlanta Falcons have a team that can compete. I think if the Falcons had the defensive players that they have on paper now last season, they for sure win the NFC South and make the playoffs. So it's going to be fun, man. This upcoming season is going to be fun. At first, before the draft, I wasn't so hot about what was happening in Atlanta. Keep it a buck with you guys. After the draft, man, it's looking a lot better. It's looking a lot better in Atlanta. And I think Terry saved himself maybe another season if his team can make the playoffs and, secure the division. So definitely excited to see what happens and what comes with the center position, the cornerback 2 position, all spots to watch in training camp because these will all be battle spots, man. So it's going to give DFU coverage. It's going to give us content to bring you guys. So stay tuned with DFU, man. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We're on the road to 1K. We're almost at that 500 mark, guys, and we cannot do it without you guys. So please subscribe. tag Falcon Friends to be here. All you have to do also is hashtag DFU. If you're watching on Facebook, tag a Falcon Friend. Hashtag DFU, and you're entered for the chance to win a Wart Dunn alternate jersey here. Wart Dunn, the white 28 jersey, as a I don't know, you could keep it as like a wall piece. We'll put it in a frame for you, whatever you want to do. Wart Dunn throwback jersey here. Hashtag DFU to be entered for that. Falcons also signed Nick Nash. That's an undrafted free agent. Philip, you spoke on the receiver before the show. I'll let you break this down. Nick Nash, your thoughts on that signing, undrafted free agent?
Well, I think it's good. He's 6'3". I think it was what
205, something like that.
6'3", 205 pounds. He had, he was leading all FBS receivers with 104 catches with 1,382 yards. And I think it was 15 or 16 touchdowns, I believe. Great receiver. That's something. Great size. That's something I like. I love a good size receiver. But when I'm looking at the 6'3", I'm thinking of like Julio. I'm thinking 220 type of weight, but he is, in my opinion, I guess I could say a little underweight. But then again, not everybody's Julio Jones. We're not a freak of nature. But I feel like this is a very good undrafted, undrafted.
A good body to have in camp to push players to possibly play for a spot here.
Like Hodge or Casey Washington. This is gonna be this is guys that's gonna be there for the future. And
I'm so ready to see Casey Washington, man.
He's 6'3". He's learning under Drake London. Darnell Mooney. He's gonna be fun. Yeah,
definitely a body I'll be looking out for at training camp when it comes to live coverage with DFU from training camp. Man, it's gonna be fun, guys. We got a lot of content coming your guys' way. So hang with us.
Another name that I don't think we talk about enough here is Kevin King, man. Kevin King, he was really coming on there for a while before he got hurt. I would say Kevin King may be a difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
I like
a bunch of names.
Last year.
Bunch of names to look out for, man, as training camp approaches us. DFU will be bringing you daily content. As of now, every Friday night at 8, DFU will be bringing you live content. So be sure to hang around, ring the bell, subscribe, like, comment. DFU is sure to answer your questions after the live podcast. If you comment after you're watching this, whenever it may be, just leave a comment. DFU will get with you. There's no comment that goes uncommented back to. I promise you that. So shout out to everybody in the comment section, everybody that tuned in tonight. DFU is getting ready to get up out of here. But real quick, Abnel says 8 subscribers away from 500. Head over to YouTube and hit that sub, fellas. Appreciate you, Abnel. Glad to have you here in the chat tonight, brother. Always day one here, Abnel. Georgia, Texas boy says, yep, King, good dime cornerback. Absolutely. Philip, Cody, Robert, it has been an hour and almost 30-minute show here for DFU. I'm sure the wife is about to pull her hair out in the living room. So, Philip, Cody, Robert, man, y'all give y'all shout-outs for tonight as we get ready to close this thing out.
Yeah, man. I would say shout out to you guys coming on and talking football, man. I would say it's nothing better than coming to talk to you boys about our Dirty Birds. But man, big shout out to Terry Fontenot. Big shout out to Terry Fontenot, absolutely knocking this draft out. The only other thing I can say is welcome home, Jalen Walker, man. I can't wait to see you in a Falcon uniform. Same thing with Pierce and Watt and, all the guys, man. I can't wait to see what you bring to the table. I'm so excited for this season. I'm kind of like you, Chase. It was, after the way last year kind of ended in complete disappointment with Kirk and all that stuff, it was – I'm always excited for Falcon football, but this really, really changed the tune of it all. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to Terra Fontenot for doing for absolutely killing this draft. Just cannot wait to see what happens this year. Shout out to the wife. Out there watching all that wonderful stuff. Can't wait to go spend some time with her. But yeah, man, God, I cannot wait for Dirty Bird football this year. So other than that, guys, rise up.
Rise up, Cody. Glad to have you here tonight for DFU Draft Recap episode 142, guys. We are racking up the shows, man. We are at 142 here with DFU. Philip, shout outs for tonight, brother.
Yeah, man. Shout out to God, man. We're here another day, another night, just enjoying this moment, the excitement of this draft. Thankful for the good memories and the times that we had Thursday night, man. It was just a good little it was a good time, man. Definitely needed. Shout out to Billy Bowman, man. That's a good name that I want to start yelling out now.
I've heard you say it about 10 times this podcast.
Like that is a good name that I just love saying, man. You got a catchy name, and I'm ready to shout it out, man. You know, I like these underrated guys like this. But shout out to Jalen, shout out to Pierce, man. You two, y'all are gonna be something crazy. Watts, gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be a fun season. Shout out to Terry and Raheem and Arthur Blank. He don't get enough shout outs as well. They got the job done, and this is an A+ draft. Shout out to them, shout out to the Dirty Birds, and shout out to to the future spoiler. Shout out to the future playoff spot we gonna have. I'm writing it down now. As always, baby, rise up.
So real quick, Philip, is Billy Bowman going to be your new Richie since you can't do Richie anymore?
It's gonna be Billy Bow. Billy Bow.
Billy Bow.
Billy Bow.
Falcon fans, we are glad to have you here tonight, man. Robert, give me a shout outs for tonight, brother.
A shout out to you guys for letting me be a part of the best Falcon podcast in the world. Greatly appreciated as always. It's always a pleasure to be here and talking Dirty Bird football. Shout out to God. Without him, nothing's possible. Shout out to our viewers and subscribers. Without you guys, this podcast isn't possible. Just spread the word. We're on our way to that 1K. We're halfway there. Just spread the word. And shout out to Terry and Raheem. And, of course, shout out to our draft picks. If you guys are watching by chance, glad to have you in Atlanta. We hope you can make a difference. And I want to send a shout out to our defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich. It's good to have a coordinator that's not trying to find an identity like Jimmy Lake was last year. And, I think he's going to coach these guys up. He's going to have them ready for opening day. And as always, shout out to the team themselves and shout out to my family, Brianna, Peyton, Zach, and Christy. I love y'all. Rise up.
Robert for not being a bum.
Robert just gave us a new title for the next episode. The Atlanta Falcons finally have an identity. Hey, Robert, with the title names coming at you. Shout out to you, Robert. Glad to have you on the podcast, man. Appreciate you taking the time out of your night to come through, man. I know you've been going through a lot with the eye surgery. Definitely not a very fun place to have people cutting and poking. So,
Lord knows.
Prayers out to you, brother.
Yeah, it took about 3 hours, and they had a hard time waking me up from the anesthetic, but I got through it. Vision slowly coming back. Still pretty sore, but in due time, everything's going to be good as new. I have no doubt.
Absolutely, man. God willing, everything is going to be okay. Glad to have Mr. Robert here on the podcast, man. As you guys know, man, shout out to Rick. Rick's another co-host here on the podcast. Wasn't able to make it tonight, but we have. That's what we do here at DFU, man. We have 4 different co-host faces to bring you 4 different aspects and views of every situation we talk about here on the channel, man. So
just in case somebody ain't here,
just glad to have everybody that's part of the podcast, man. Without you guys, there isn't a podcast. And I want to say shout out to all the people in the comment section tonight, man. You guys really showed out tonight. The draft recap show was a success tonight with a leading of 20 head watching all night long. Shout out to all you guys that tuned in and watched the podcast. Tonight, we're going to close the podcast out a little different. We will close it out with the live reaction for the people that watch this after the live, so you can still get kind of that reaction towards the end.
Can I say it was a perfect night to buy the draft hat?
Philip with the draft hat on the Jalen Walker selection. Shout out to Philip for that. Night. Philip, first ever draft party was a success, bro.
Jalen Walker. We was talking about this on the way home, me and Daddy, man. We have a good track record of first time anything with the Falcons.
Facts.
First ever game, we got the plaque here. It's not even just about the plaque. We completely whooped the Saints' ass in our first ever game. Last, regular season game in the Dome.
2016.
It's just something crazy. The draft, our first ever appearance there. It's just as as perfect as it could have been, man. And then training camp as well. We got great signatures, great players. Matt Ryan of all people. I didn't get the signature, but got to meet him at least. Got to talk to him. It was fun. So
cool.
We have a good track record.
Cool stuff with the Atlanta Falcons, man. That's how we do this thing.
Just put me there. We got it, bro. We got it.
Die hard. Atlanta Falcon fans, man. And don't get no diehard here on DFU. Falcon fans, shout out to you guys for tuning in, man. Shout out to the wife for dealing with the kids for an hour and 30 while we ran an hour and 30 special here for you at DFU, man. Shout out to the Atlanta Falcons for drafting the guys that they needed and they wanted. The Atlanta Falcons had a goal and a plan, and they went out and executed Thursday night and every night of the draft here in 2025. Falcon fans, we thank you for taking the time out of your Saturday night to spend with DFU. So what we will do before we head out of here, man, we'll end the show with our live reaction. It'll be about let's see. I'll give y'all a good 4-minute reaction. We'll close it off with the 4-minute reaction, and then we'll be done with the podcast tonight, man. So shout out to you guys. Thank you for all you do for the podcast and my co-hosts. Thank you to all the subscriptions, everybody that has been here on the road to 1K, man. We appreciate y'all. Here's the live reaction. We get out of here, man. A-Town down. Rise up.
Rise up.
Hold on.
Yo, don't mess
Rise
this
up.
one up, baby. Come on. Mike Green or Jalen Walker, bring him to the aid. I'll take a Will Johnson. I'll take a. Here we go. Time to change the roster. Time to change the roster, Cody. Time to change the roster. Please be Mike Green. Let's go, chat. Who we picking right here, chat? Who's the white guy? Hey, is that Miles Garrett in there? Jalen Walker or Mike Green, that's the only option here at 15.
Great players in positions that need leaders on each side of the ball. This to me, you get Penix last year, they come back with Walker this year. These young guys lead offense and defense.
Jalen Walker, man, come on. Here it is. Here it is, Atlanta. Here it is. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Yeah! Yes, sir! Yeah! Woo, 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 woo. Let's go! Bring it to the head, baby. Bring it to the head. Bring it back home. Let's go. Let's go! Cody, day one starter and Jalen Walker all day. What does Jalen Walker bring to a defense in Atlanta?
Man, what it brings is it brings pressure to the opposite quarterback on this team. Jalen Walker is the guy who gets the quarterback on the ground. I would say we still got to address that edge, but I'm telling you right now, Jalen Walker is a great choice here for our Atlanta Falcons. Terry, this is the first time in the 4 years that you've been here that you absolutely nailed it. You nailed it with Bijan, obviously, but this addresses a need that the Falcons is absolutely needed. This is a great pick. I can't wait to see Jalen Walker in the Falcons uniform.
Jalen Walker in the A. How we feel about Jalen Walker in Atlanta? What kind of player are you getting on your defense? Man, you getting a fucking playmaker. This is a game changer right here. This is what's going to get us into these playoffs, man. I cannot wait to see what we do on defense this year, man. Rise up. Rise up. 3 excited DFU fans here tonight in the building for the draft party, man. Rise up.